So mystic masonry. The cradle of symbolism used in all masonry is placed by many of the best authorities in that country which they believe was first inhabited. Example, the plateau of Tartary, and from there transmitted to this generation by the sages of India, Persia, Ethiopia, and Egypt. We are not indebted to either ancient Egypt for either religion or masonry, but to America. It is a fact that at Memphis, Egypt, and the pyramids under the guidance of the great kings, the mystic rites of masonry were worked many thousands of years ago, but at that time, Egypt and the continent of America were one and the same. America, known to the mystics as Atlantis, when this ruin befell, was the seat of the greatest empire that has ever existed, and its irresistible armies were terrorizing all Europe and Asia. When following the course of the constellations, those immovably and perpetually fastened upon America are reached, it will appear that while all that is sublime in the historic past centers upon Egypt, all that is sublime in the prehistoric past centers upon America, Atlantis. And as the curtain which has hitherto concealed the prehistoric connection between the peoples of ancient Egypt and of America is lifted, it will be seen that the people of the eagle on the Nile, being descended from the original people of the eagle on this continent, the twain are one, and that prehistoric America was the original Egypt or Eagle Land prior to the mighty dispensation in the days of Peleg, when the earth was divided and the great globe itself was nearly rent asunder. Louis Agassiz, the famous geologist, says, firstborn among continents, America has been falsely denominated the New World. Hers was the first dry land lifted out of the waters. Hers was the first shore washed by the ocean that enveloped all the earth besides. And while Europe was represented only by islands rising here and there above the sea, America, Atlantis, already stretched an unbroken line of land from Nova Scotia to the far west. So when you think about the mound builders, you have to think about the ancient Atlanteans. The Mississippians are the same people. They descend from the Atlanteans. The Aztecs, the Mayas, the Olmecs, these are all the same people studying the same sciences with the same culture, same rituals and practices, tracking the stars, the planets, developing calendars, developing agricultural systems, studying geometry, utilizing geometry to build the greatest structures that are still on the planet today. So here it says that the Americans, the antediluvians, the most ancient people on earth. It also states that the people who erected the obelisks in Egypt and covered them with hieroglyphs, who wrapped mummies, embalming them with the greatest care, knew no more about the pyramids than we do today. The majestic voiceless sentinels, the pyramids with heads uncovered and lifted heavenward, stood there on a broad plain, silent and dumb, with no one to explain their origin, when Egyptian civilization began. This out. Of this there can be no doubt. The pyramids were built by Atlanteans long before Egypt was a civilized country. Why then were they built in Egypt instead of some part of what is now America? Because Egypt was then the center of the earth, and the Atlanteans, with their vast knowledge, sought the center, for that will stand for as long as time. So it's important to check this information, because we tend to think that the information came from the east, but really it came from the west, with the Mississippians, the Atlanteans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, the same people. These are the same people that look alike, practice the same culture, practice the same rituals, and developed the information here and gave it to the rest of the world. So I just wanted to share this with y'all. I thought it was pretty cool.